So the early game, you have to survive for quite a while to start to get any points on the board, really. But if you get right to that top 10, top 20 area, they start ramping up fast. And that's exactly what Class has done today. The reason why I have a lot of confidence for Class going forward is he has an average placing of 8 in 3 games. That is huge. He only has an average elims of 2.67. But we've seen that placement comes out on top in this format and in these grand final days. And dropping Shark somewhere far away, who so far looks like he's uncontested, if he can keep that up, if he can keep getting those placements, it's going to be huge.
That is right, and don't worry, guys. We have all the action ready to be covered here today. And it is unfolding all across the Fortnite World map. Here's a little highlight from earlier. Coop's nice little sniper shot right there from that Steamy Stacks. And this is how he ended up getting that first elimination that pushed him into the Weeping out of his rotate on out. Now he's in the safe zone, off to a very good start. That's one step closer to catching up to Class, who's only, or at that point, was only 2 points ahead of him.
Yeah, and Jelty was in 12th place too, so Jelty going down there, very, very unfortunate one for him. You've talked about, obviously, the Latin American community, and unfortunately, one of their heroes going down, but Jelty can jump back into it. Someone else who's around that spot, you also have Kaz, who I've said is someone I'm expecting to do well here today. A little bit of an underdog coming into it. Only one mini and one Chug Splash going into the bush, needing that refresh. No. Maybe I spoke too soon. He has the build control, though. He's backed this one off quickly, needs to try and get that splash and the mini off, but he needs to close this fight out. There is no disengaging. There is no second chance. He's taken this fight. He has to finish it now. He doesn't have the loot to get away from it. Kaz on the back foot, and no, I've cursed him. Aviv getting the elim, throwing some disrespect down, and Kaz, unfortunately, something went wrong in this game.
And Kaz was tied for 4th place there. So him being out of the competition now is going to be huge for him and his standings and how he's going to be able to shape himself out in the rest of this competition. And he fell to someone who's on their way up. Like, Aviv is doing pretty good right now, 18 points. So that's that. Here's Illisto, on the other hand, a more relevant fight right now as he's on the hunt here. The crash pad on in, the shield crack, and that's going to be the green light to step on in. Look at the swiftness of the edits here. He's not playing around, and no hesitation even trying to crash pad on in now. And this is looking closer and closer. That additional pressure from the outside is probably going to be the only reason that Alts is going to stay alive right now.
Yeah, and I don't think Illis is going to leave that going for long. I think one of these players is going to fall here. Illis doesn't need this fight. He still has some meds, but he wants to take it, but never mind. Altu using that defensive advantage to get the elim. Now he's crash padding in. Illis crash pads out, something we haven't seen too much. He predicted the crash pad in. Instead of trying to hold the angle, knowing he had the health disadvantage, he used one of his own crash pads to break out and get away from that. But I see a third player coming into this one. No, never mind. It's still the same two. The henchmen are looking on, though, but Illis trying to close this one out. Will he come out on top? He's up against the wall. The player edits, and a very risky edit right in Illis' face. And if he wasn't reloading, Altu would have been put in the back pocket there, but now he falls 84th, and Illis gets his first elimination of the game, and a good refresh. If you look at what he just gained off that player, luckily Altu was pretty stacked as well, so Illis gets his shield back, gets a lot of the crash pads back, and he's looking pretty good for what was a pretty dicey fight, Monster.
More importantly, he gained the point off of that because he needs it now. That's going to put him one step closer to top 10 there, which right now, the cutoff line for top 10 is 23 points. So 21 now for Illis is pretty massive here, considering we're getting closer and closer to more placement and that mid game right now. Remember, we did jump in with just a few minutes already into the action, so it's a little bit of a deeper setting here now that we're kind of hopping on into. On the other perspective, though, just think about his loadout now. It's all coming together here. He's got shields for days. He's got rotates to play off of. All he needs now is to continue to max out this material and make his way to safety here. But it's not looking too good. He's got a lot of pressure and focus coming in from different players.
Yeah, he's got one player behind him and a lot of players in front. So if he takes this fight here, they've got to close it out quickly and not bring too many eyes on him, because now they're making a lot of noise. And those players that are just inside Salty Springs will have eyes out here now, knowing the players coming in. But Illist is really playing aggressive here again. He's pushing off just a couple of AR tags, but luckily for him, the third party that almost eliminated him before actually helps him this time around. And Crypt going down. Illist, 2 eliminations on the board and an even better loadout now, picking up the one thing he didn't have, which was a launch pad. So Illist's aggression paying off in spades here now. 2 on the board and a lot of extra loot to show for it.
Not only that, he has a few options as well for heals to pick from. Floppers and Chug Splashes both. Azers, on the other hand, though, playing this cone right now. 24 points here. He was just on that brink of breaking out. He's in top 10 now, if you think about it, because of the fact that we did have someone get taken out there as well just at the start, which was Skittles. But You got to think about it. The zone's closing in now, and there's a bunch of players behind him. This fight here, oh my gosh, the cone's going to play off. It's Rox who walks right into what is basically an ambush from Azers. He gets rewarded with all the loot as well.
Gets all the loot dropped down onto this ultimate low ground layer, so he's dropping back down into these old builds. So he's going to try and hopefully expand out here, because Fatch coming in to try and take some of this, and also this player seeing that he's maybe a little bit weak, or assumes that he's a little bit weak, trying to take some shots in from the side, and yeah, just a big ambush there, and that's what you see. Do you have the confidence? He could have stayed in that cone, player had no idea he was there, would have held on to the placements, but having the confidence to be like, no, I've got the advantage, I've got the drop, and going for those fights, and that's what you want to see. Today's the day of day. It's the grand finals, and you need to be able to back yourself, as you see Haji put back against the wall, someone I said to look out for, who actually won one of the games in the heats to qualify here on 20 points. So not a bad performance by any means, and he was caught off guard there and just relied on pure reaction time and aim.
Massive eliminations worth 2 points because the 75th placement threshold was broken as he converted. So just like that, wow. 18 to 20 points now in the game here. This is grand finals day. This is the halfway mark of the competition. Game number 4, ladies and gentlemen. So after this, that's it. They only have 2 more opportunities. You do not want to get sent back to the lobby like Sid here, who was doing so well up until now. But there it is. He met the red light. He's got to park his car here till later.
He's going to have to try and come back into the next one, hopefully hit the green light and push forward. Might have to hit the gas as well. He's doing well, but he's not too far up on the leaderboard. And there is big prize money today. We haven't talked about it too much, Monster. $50,000 US for first place. That is how much the players got for qualifying for World Cup. So this is big. These are the big stage set here. And these players really are going to have their eyes set on the top. And we broke down the prize pool before the show with the analysts, and it does start to get real heavy around that kind of top 5. But there is big money to go out today. 1 point, 2 point can be the difference between a few thousand, or even we saw in Europe, sometimes one elimination. You were talking about a Monster with me in the pre-show. Some players going down in their last game, they were like $20,000 and $30,000 swings in a single fight.
Yes, that's right. This is life-changing prizing on the line here. And that's not it. It's the glory as well. It's to prove to the community, to your peers and friends, that you are one of the best. And all that practice you've been putting in is going to be well worth it here. This is a big rotate for Accepta, who's in top 10, who's now getting pressured in by Bugha. We saw he didn't have any shields. With the upgraded AR now, if he finds a shot here from this epic AR, it's going to hurt. It's going to do a lot of body damage. There it is. It's 35. He's closing up. It only takes 2 body shots to finish him off because of the additional pressure from the rest of the lobby. And now Bugha is keying his way towards the loot, but there's someone else on the other side of the wall. It's not going to be for free here. He's going to have to fight for it. And yes, he is now in a weird situation now, sitting on top of a bunch of enemies, but it's okay because he is safe for now. No more heals left in Bugha's inventory. How is he going to bounce back in the competition is the big question now.
I'm looking at that hunting rifle. I mean, Bugha, we used to see him in the driver's seat as well. The weeks we've seen him do so well, he starts off strong and he finishes strong as well. So Bugha having a bit of a shaky start, needs to claw his way back into it. He's not performing poorly, but needs to pick it up a little bit. As we see here, 4 of the top 5 players have placed top 25 in all 3 games, just showing how consistent it is at the top. And Age is picking up Thatch, getting a big refresh. So like we said, Monster, this isn't like EU where we see someone getting a big win and running away with it. Everyone's trading up, everyone's playing consistently, and it's going to 100% come down to the wire. So far, none of these players have shown they can jump that 10-11 elimination win. As we jump onto a replay with Skittles, who's on only 46 health, who needs to make something happen. Crash Pad's in the back pocket, trying to push back forward, trying to hold off a third party and a player aggressing from behind, and it's just the lobby focus. Doxy Fishy picking up the limb, and Skittles, someone who's been doing very well here today, going into this game on 6th place, falls just like that.
I love how we gave props to players finishing in top 25, and just like that, 5th and 6th place are now down outside of the top 25. Very far from it, but it is okay. The competition is still raging on, and there are still more opportunities up ahead. It's a matter of who can bounce back and really pull it all together. This is a very crucial zone to make a proper rotate out of. Someone like Bugha is going to need an impact soon. He's going to find one through the floor there just in time as the build is freshly coming in, and he's going to be sitting inside some enemy kind of builds now. He's trying to see if there's some free loot down there. He's probably going to want to take advantage of this. And remember, he did just tag the player down there as well. He needs this as much as the guy in front of him, and that's a free tunnel he's landing into. We'll see now if Bugha can find his impact elimination, or will it be the end of his run right now? It's going to be up against Not Builds, who's on the other side. So here it happens. The crash pads are going to come out, and now he's forced into defense. He only has 45 builds, guys. This is not a lot.
Ooh. He's got to secure this. He has to get it. He does, and he gets the elimination for it too. So obviously we had the Nobu member Pabstale on the back foot as well, trying to push for that one. I saw it. There it is, the mythic Chug Jug. When you're going into endgame with no builds, no material, nothing, Bugha needs to secure this. He can't walk away from it, but Zone's coming in. Someone else took it. He didn't get the crash pads. What did he get? Did he get the material? And did he pick up the infinite Chug? We're going to have to find out when we jump on his perspective later, because he needed those meds bad. And I was just going to say, as much as those players in the top haven't really had their big game, any of these players can. We've talked about it. Who's who? Bugha, Stretch, players who have shown in qualifiers and heats, they can drop 8 to 10 elimination wins. If one of them does that soon, we're going to see a big jump up from someone else, and the leaderboard at the top is going to get even more stacked.
That is so true. And this is the time to do it halfway into the competition. We've seen players like Stretch pull off the marathon run, the back-to-back big games that he needs in the past. But if players like Blake stay consistent, these are the names that we're going to see continue to rise on up. Remember, Blake was shut down in the previous game, so this is a massive game for him right now. And he's doing big things for what is just a normal, common AR, showing that you do not need an upgraded loadout to make big plays. It is just dangerous in any hands of the best players. These pros find ways to make it work where the normies cannot. But we'll see, though. Azer's, on the other hand, is looking pretty good here. He's trying to get into some action. There's a player underneath him, I believe.
Yeah, and that's what's so important about the consistency. Blake drops a 14-point victory royale from placement and 6 eliminations. He got 20 points in game 1, and I believe he was on, in there? He was about low 20s, 23 or 26 from this game, so that's a real big issue for him. He needs to find that consistency, but if he drops another win as Aegis trying to use his crash pad to go forward into this box, and this is a half-half zone that they now have, so that fight was so huge, because if Aegis managed to win that, not only was he going to get half-half the elimination, he was also going to get Kit's mythic loot. So Aegis falling there so close to what could have been the game he needed, as Stretch is now below it, and Keox looking to have his game. If Stretch is in there, if Stretch gets his hand on this shockwave launcher, at the start of this season, he was known for it. He was playing caddy corners in solos. If anyone could win a game with that loot in the back pocket, it's going to be Stretch. And if he's identified that player has it, he is not going to stop until he gets it.
But guess what? Our first place is still in this game as well. It doesn't matter what kind of mythic loot is out there in the battlefield right now. It still needs to shut down what Class can do. And we saw if he gets his hands on something big, he runs away with the competition. First full moving is going to be coming in soon, and he's kind of in a shambles situation. He's middling as far as his loot goes. Only 30 builds. He does have just enough heals and stuff to hold him out, but it's not too much. It's not the winning loot that you want to see coming into this late game. The zone is going to favor him for what it's worth, so it gives him a few more beats here to look back and see what he can find, to see if he can pull some elims. He doesn't have a single frag right now. Remember, top 40 is the next placement that can be given out, so he can effectively walk away with still a few points just worth of placements alone.
Yeah, 3 points of placement would be good, but he's got to pick up that pace as well. He's got to keep up the pace, sorry. Eyes are on him. He is in first place right now on 40 points. And last time we saw him when he got the win, he had 7 floppers. So it is. It's looking like a very different loadout. And again, these are the players you want to watch out for who need something soon. Again, I know Zake coined it best. Do you have the loadout you need to win this game? No? Then get in. Try and get an elimination. That's exactly what Class does. Identifies that he hit him hard, but it's probably going to take too long to finish that one off. So now he's trying to find it. He's not just resting on what he has. And this is what you need. Takes down Uzi. You need the confidence when you're in first place. You're not holding on to your lead. You're pushing it. You're putting the pressure on those around you to jump up and take over control of this tournament. Make everyone put eyes on you and feel the pressure. And Class is not feeling the pressure here. He is putting it on everyone else with a big elimination. And now look at the loadout difference, Monster.
And more importantly, he picked up the launch pad there, but it's not going to be enough. Dwal's going to walk right through him, from right underneath his feet, breaks into the box. Names that are still here, though. Bugha has high ground, battling it out with Keox. Keox, who has the mythic loadout, though. He does have the shockwave from Kit. You can see it coming into play right there. On the other side, Calc making his way to another endgame as well. I see AJ, Coop still in this game, too. This is his opportunity. Only 2 points separates himself from second place to first place. Can Coop do it? He already has an Elim this time around, and he's got just enough loot to continue to inch his way forwards. But he's going to need something big here. He's going to need the impact elimination to keep him in the game, because he's even running out of medium bullets as well.
But this is where Coop shines. I said it last game. When things get scrappy and he drops down with that shotgun in hand, you can never count him out. We saw him get, Monster? 3 eliminations on less than 10 health after all the siphons. He was hitting shots the millisecond he needed to survive, and that's what I expect him to do here. Coop on the back foot now, has the splash. He's going to get them off, but what does he do next? How does he find the elimination he needs? There's a lot of players around him right now who will be running shambles as well. He's going to hit the crash pad and try and find something. Pushes him nice and far forward, but where is this player lurking? Where is his elimination that he so sorely needs? He's trying to find them, and there they are. They're behind him. He finds it onto Tabs. Tabs falls here, and Coop gets a little bit of the mats he needs, but no, he only gets 1 extra build out of it left to his name now, but Coop is pushing forward. He's getting towards those big placements, Monster, at 17 players alive.
Not only that, though, the zone favored him when he needed it most there, swinging right back in his direction. So there you have it. Coop still in this game. Don't count him out just yet. On the other side, though, Crunchy now down to 7 builds, has to do something massive in the low ground. He's looking for any kind of frag he can find. This could be his big opportunity here to find the impact that he needs. On the high ground, though, Kiox is still doing something big. And there you have it, Ozzy. You called it. Coop still making things work with nothing in the inventory. Not on the low ground. Someone's right in front of him. He actually gets to the cone. He's just trying to stay alive now. Any placement matters. Remember, he's in first at the moment.
He's jumped up into first. Eyes are on him now, and Coop needs to hold on to the pressure. Can he deal with it? Haven't seen him in this first place position so far this tournament, but he's doing so well. The white tag from behind has to drop back. He's pinned between this player and zone, but no, he can go forward. And there's another player. He misses his shotgun shot, and no, the first one we've seen him miss, and he needed it so badly. But Coop having a phenomenal performance again, going down to Crims. Crunchy on the bottom ground. We saw Sundown talk about it yesterday. Does he like it, Crunchy? Does he like it smooth? Let's see it. He's going forward. He's pushing in, trying to find his way around the corner. 27 points, no builds. 4 eliminations though, so a big game using that harpoon to push forward, wraps around, takes down Booger. He gets the elimination. Booger falls here, which is a big game for him as well. And Crims, the double elimination, back-to-back. Dubs falls too, so we're going to have such a tight top 10 as Crunchy wants to push his way and cement it higher. The harpoon coming in clutch right now to get him forward, and there's a bunch of loot there. I believe Kiox is still on the high ground with the shockwave launcher, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind. Can these players win? Can they overcome the shockwave launchers? We've seen it be so devastating. Is now rockets dropping out too. Crunchy on the low ground has everything against him, but he's holding it strong. Still has builds left to his name. Has 4 left, 6 eliminations. Kiox goes back up with the shockwave launcher. Crunchy scrambling, jumping in and out of zone, trying to find the angles. The AR comes out and no, he falls. Kiox in zone gets the siphon, which could be enough to keep him in it. Nanolight on the high ground. The silent assassin in the back pocket trying to close this one out, and Kiox wins it in the heel off, and Nanolight can't get back into Storm. And we see 22 points with a 6th elimination win. He got 20 of his 22 points in 1 game, Monster.
That's the kind of win that you need right there to throw you back into the conversation, back into the game. He took the full-on AR battle, standing toe-to-toe in the zone, at his own demise there from the shockwave. Either way, though, we're going to send it over to the table, to the boys at the main desk to break it all down. Zeke, take it away.
Thank you so much, Monster. Kiox there, finding himself the victory royale. And boys, we're seeing the caddy launcher. We're seeing these victory royale. It's happening.
A story as old of time. I mean, we've seen it pretty much every single time throughout the heats and until now. It doesn't matter whether it's the person who started with the caddy launcher, with Kit Shockwave launcher, or not. If you pick it up, you have a big advantage going into that final 1v1.
Absolutely. The question is, for the people who didn't have it, how does the overall standings look now? It is Coop all the way at the top spot, in first after that dominant survival at the low ground. No wins, but look at those eliminations resulting in 45 points.
And the thing I want to note about Coop at the top is he stays holding on to that 10 average placement that Sundown in the previous standings said that he needed to maintain. There is a big, scary moment for him, though. If he falls in any of these, that is the opportunity for someone to rise up. And Blake did just that in the last game, getting right back up into fighting chances.
And this is what happened before. I think in almost every competition Coop has been in, he's had a top spot, 3rd or 1st, but then faltered and tripped. So he has to break the pattern, break the curse, hold first, and then win out for the whole day.
And where will any of these other guys end up falling? On the second page, there's still some big sleepers. Kaz, who's been playing very well, has fallen all the way to 11th. Dubs as well, starting to rise up. Same with P-God, who has had 9 eliminations in these games, so definitely feeling the magic that he is used to, but there is a big impact of these guys who potentially could rise hugely in the standings, like we just saw from Keox. That is a rise in thousands of dollars potentially if you end within that top 5.
And that's what we saw in EU, right? Like, we knew Tayson was going to walk away with the victory, but when you're looking at that big breakdown in placement, the prize money that you could walk away with, you're trying to hit those top spots, right? Like, that's what these guys have to do. They have to come out swinging. They have 2 games left. They need to make the performances that will literally shape history and make it their own, because right now, it's make or break time.
Yeah, a lot of people have made their performance stand out now in game number 4. We saw Crims take out the first place slot Coop in that last game near low ground. Now he's sitting in the top 30. Very similar for a lot of players. They have their pedestal now to boost off of and then shoot for the top 10, shoot for number 1. It is still anyone's game.
And that was actually the second game in a row that Crims has played very well in towards these end games. There is some serious moves being made by other players that we might not have necessarily seen. We saw him definitely in both of the last end games. We'll have to see if he can continue it.
That's right. I mean, as we kind of break some of this down, we've got 2 games left. There's a lot of these power shifts happening, other players making moves, others falling. I mean, again, as people are eliminated, that's it, right? They have to wait till the next round to earn more points while others are allowed to kind of step forward. But Keox, I mean, he made this game his own.
Yeah, let's just stop back and look at exactly how Keox won that last game. Maximum amount of ammo there in the mid-ground. Once you are loud and heard afterwards, you go all the way to height, start dropping down, mid-air, 70 damage tag to wrap that up on low ground with another quick shockwave up. Look at every single use. We're pausing on him to show you the decisions that he's making in fast reaction times, getting these shots down from long range, from beautiful moments and shots all the way outside the zone. They just connect for Keox.
In the final moments, too, the confidence to go for those AR shots at long range, to take out Crunchy and then nail it in the final seconds. That was brilliant from Keox, and he makes it work. Again, this opportunity that we keep harping on Zeke, its potential for thousands of dollars if he can make it work one more time.
Yeah, man, we've only got 2 games left. We can't stress this enough. For you guys watching at home, every time these players interact, it is going to dictate whether they are moving up or down the leaderboard, right? Again, if someone is eliminated, they have to wait. They have to sit there and think about what is, like, the mistakes they've made. With 1 game left after that, we're going to see some players rise. We're going to see more players fall. That is the story, and that's how this kind of just unfolds sometimes. You know, you hate to see it, but there's got to be winners and there's got to be losers.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
pointing at you, Shia.
You're pointing at me. I thought you were grabbing for yourself. I got this. Listen, I'm stunned, right? Because I'm trying to overprocess and trying to figure out what's going to happen in the next game. Not even joking, because we're looking at Coop holding these down up top. We're looking at NA East being unpredictable once again. Usually we have a 1v1 near the top. That is not the case this time. It's close.
Look. Thank you for being very clear who you're talking to. Look, it's close, still at the top. I mean, Class, who just had that previous massive game, is still there. He's only within 3 points. So keep that in mind. 3 points is all it takes. Zeke.
Thank you guys for that hard throw. With that being said, we are getting ready to get into our next game on the day. So let's send it over to Monster D-Face and Aussie Antics to take us in.
We appreciate you so much, Zekamus Prime there, Balla CW, and of course Shio Wager for the expertise and breakdown of where we stand right now, right here in the competition. But like you guys mentioned, the rising and falling, that's like the tide. It's like clockwork. These are things that are going to happen. And if this is a high tide for Coop or Class, they're going to run away with the competition here.
Yeah, high tide, and who's going to run into the drought, though, as well? Some people could have it. We saw it in EU. We saw a player rise up so high in Game 5 and then go down early Game 6 and have to watch it close out. So we get a far southeast zone, which I don't think we've seen too much of. And this is where I'm looking eyes on caddy corners, where they can now take their time with those fights and really dictate who gets those powerful weapons. I'm also looking at players like Stretch and Booger. I talked about it yesterday. When Stretch played his heat, he had really struggled games when they went north. As soon as zone started to pull south, he had some huge games. So we could see see someone jump up out of nowhere who isn't a nobody. It's crazy how some of the biggest names of this finals aren't up there on the leaderboard, but they could be at any time. A 10 elimination win is 25 points. That is over half the person who's in first place right now. So some of those people who are a little bit lower on the leaderboard could come back at any time.
That's right. They can break their way into top 10 like you saw in the previous game. How it just happened like that. A 20-point swing is available to any one of our competitors, especially the veterans that have done it before on the biggest stages. And that's what leads us to the question, what is going to be shaping up right now? How is this going to all play out? Will Coop and Class and the others at the top, like Accept, Blake, Crunchy, DeRoller, be able to hold their leads? If they do, that's it. That's going to be the run. If they cannot, all of a sudden we are going to have a very interesting last and final game. This is game 5, ladies and gents, and we're looking at Skittles right now. It looks like there's a little bit of a fight down here.
Yeah, and I think that player does have the Shockwave launcher, right? I saw that Shockwave launcher coming out, and that probably explains why Skittles is going so aggressive for this fight. Yes, he does have it, so Skittles wants this. He knows a player using rockets like that to disengage means they're weak. If he can chase this player down and get his hands on that Shockwave launcher, that's his potential for those 20-point games. That's his way to get back in this tournament. He's 28 points, not doing poorly, but a big game here will jump him up so high, and this player doesn't realize he's chased it. He doesn't think he's chased this hard. He thinks he's safe. He's stopping. He's eating things off the ground. He goes down. It's XNB. It's the banana specialist himself falling, and Skittles gets the elimination, and he's going to get his hands on that caddy loot. And I have to think, I don't know if XNB's been going caddy corners at all today, Monster. So people changing up their strategy in these final games to have those big point formats. So the players at the top, like Coop, like Class, need to be careful because people are changing the way they're playing.
And that's so massive because Skittles already has 2 eliminations, and he was in the top 10. So he's breaking his way up now. That puts him on par with DeRoller, who was also at 29 points. But now he has Mythic Kit loot, right? He has the best loot in the game for a solo setting. That's going to be huge here. It's going to help him play into this format and make so much more placement and find the frags that he's going to need to carry his way through that end game. That's so important to the storyline that's unfolding in front of us.
Yeah, well, we talk about the storyline, we're talking about protagonists and stuff. Keox, last game, he had his hands on the Kit's Mythic loot the first time, and what does he do? He gets 20 points. He got 2 points in his 3 games before that, and then he gets 20-point game. So it shows how important that loot is. We can't talk about it enough. Skittles having that in his hand, if he plays with it well, though, that's the issue. Do you have the experience with the Mythic loot? I saw it a lot in last season. A lot of times people get their hands on the grapple gun, they go crazy. They start using it way too much. It's those players who know how to use it are the ones who can use it most effectively. Doesn't matter how strong it is, it makes you a target as well. As we saw there at Skittles, chasing down XMB because he saw the power of it used. You've got to be careful, and I want to see him hold on to and have that big game like he did during his qualifiers.
I agree. It's the same reason I don't even grab an RPG. You'll just blow yourself up. It's a lot of power in one hand, right? And it gets even worse, right? It only goes up. It only magnifies its way up when you're talking about weapons like that, mythic weapons, specifically the Shockwave launcher. But we'll see, though. Class is looking really good here. Uncontested loadout, uncontested POI to himself. The old Shark there, the broken down Shark. It's looking pretty good for him. On the other side, Blake, who's also in the top 4 right now, coming into this at 33 points. He's still just there. He's got himself something nice, a legendary charged shotgun to play with, a couple rotates, and some good heals for later in the game.
Yeah, and a pretty decent zone for him. I want to touch on Class's zone as well. That's what I'm talking about. These southern zones could cause issues because some of those players at the top, Class, dropping at the start, the far northwest part of the map now has to go southeast. We'll see, does he have it in the game plan? Does he know this job well enough? And can he now make the rotation? teams with incredible mobility, it's really hard. You get pushed down the mountain a little bit, and then the zone goes straight back up. You've got to scramble and fight your way back up with a lot of movement. So we could see a very interesting zone and endgame where some of those players, like Coop and Class, are going to have to really show off their consistency here.
That is right, and even on this rotate here, Clix is not getting it done for free. There's multiple players here that are looking to fight right now. Not sure why, possibly because the Storm Surge that is active now. Players need their tags, and it doesn't matter. You stop in here to fight with Clix, he's going to give it to you, and he's going to do it right there. He did it with the sniper again. This is the second time now he's landed this big bull action shot that he needs. On the other side, it's Fishy, one of the hottest up-and-coming players, one of the hottest players on this scene right now, who's been not too hot today, specifically. Unfortunately, not really finding what he needs. On the other side, though, P-God, he was off to a very strong, consistent start, and he's had a bad game in the recent ones.
Yeah, and I have to mention how on brand it is that every time we turn into the Peruvian P-God, he's always got the pepper popped. Me and Sundown were messing around with it yesterday with some tongue twisters, but it honestly seems to be his game plan, and it lets him aggressively push forward with speed into fights like this onto Viberfire, someone we've unfortunately seen on the feed quite a lot today on the stream, unfortunately at the back end of getting eliminated. P-God trying to get his way back into this one.